Good evening. It is the question every parent is asking. Will their children be safe when they return to school? Tonight, even the Premier says he's nervous.
But for the parents that are nervous, I understand. I'm nervous as a Premier. I'm going to be losing sleep all the way up through September to make sure these kids are safe.
The key question, though, is what is the best and most doable way to keep returning students safe? Close to 90%, or roughly 1.5 billion students around the world, have had their school disrupted due to the pandemic. Some 20 countries have resumed classes, but all under different circumstances. There is one key indicator of success, though.
What we see is when community spread is low, and schools are reopened very carefully with careful measures. So that's the physical distancing and the mask wearing and cohorting. It can go just fine.
Epidemiologist Colin Furness approves of Ontario's approach, noting its masking policy makes them mandatory for students in grades 4 to 12 and encourages them in younger grades. What parents, though, are concerned about the most is distancing in elementary grades. The government is hoping elementary students will be 2 meters apart, but are not reducing class sizes.
2 meters is optimal. The Sick Kids report actually does talk about 1 meter, maybe as good. We are hoping for 2.
Change the 3-word change.
Many teachers argue with 20+ children in a class, that distancing isn't possible. Is that going to be safe?
So that's a good question.
A key question, though, is the reasoning behind the government's distancing stance.
Is that because it's simply a practical measure that there isn't enough classroom space to increase distancing among elementary students, or is it because you genuinely feel that it's going to be safe enough?
There were many considerations that had a role in making the decision around the classroom size, and we'll have to see how it goes with the schools.
A petition started during the weekend calling for smaller class sizes and now has close to 100,000 signatures. But the Premier has a solution for parents who are afraid to send their children to school.
They don't have to put their kids in school. They can keep them home and do online learning. So
Epidemiologist Colin Furness says he'd like to see as many classes in the elementary grades as possible be held outside, and he'd also like more testing, like those pulse oximeters that can go on a child's fingers. They're painless and quite accurate, he says.